Welcome to Brainstorm MTG. I'm ELD, and this is Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. This week bumped it up a notch, trying to do a little high-res footage, so let me know how you feel about that in the comments. We were not able to live stream because of the higher resolution, but hopefully it shows up a little bit more clearly for you guys in the actual gameplay. Carl, starting out here, completely unknown what I was playing against. Misty Rainforest into Underground Sea. Still leaves it a big question mark. That could be a ton of different decks. Underground Sea, one of the most played cards in the format. And Ponder as well. So very much in the dark here. Could be anything from a Delver variant, check pile. It could be Storm, Reanimator. Tons of options. And you're going to see a fetch into Deathrite Shaman, which does have a reasonable amount of interaction with a lot of the lists that I just mentioned there, and that gets dazed, and that tends to indicate that we're probably up against some type of Delver variant at that point. The hard control decks not necessarily as keen on daze. And the second land drop is going to be a Gaia's Cradle, so we've got Quirion Ranger and Heritage Druid, and Fatal Push going to take out that Quirion Ranger. Misty Rainforest, fetching down, and here we see a Bayou. So bugs so far, black, blue, green. And Hymn to Torok, devastating with only 3 cards in hand, leaving just 1. And it looks like the 2 best cards actually hit there. Green Sun Zenith. And another Hymn to Torok in a Wasteland. So this game is in terrible shape now. No cards in hand, just a single land. Now that Wirewood Symbiote does threaten to stabilize to a degree here, as we see Heritage Druid blocking Goyf and then bouncing. Wirewood Symbiote, such a strong card in Elves, giving a type of protection to all of the Elves in the deck. And Wasteland getting down to just 1 permanent on board. A Cradle lets that Heritage Druid come back down. Incredibly, still have some mana here. Face of these Wastelands and Hymns. And Tombstalker now, a very serious threat. One that cannot be blocked by Elves on the ground. So we're looking at a 4-turn clock here, just with the Tombstalker. And that Deathrite Shaman certainly threatens to speed that clock up even more. So in a very bad way here. Armogoyf and Tombstalker teaming up to come in. Actually going to take the damage here. And a 3rd Hymn to Torok. Just devastating. Looks like Natural Order was in hand. So it was within the realm of possibilities to actually bust out Natural Order. Potentially to steal the game there, but that 3rd Hymn to Torok making sure that's definitely not going to happen. Gonna have to do a block and return here just to stay alive. Now, can Natural Order still win from here? There's 3 mana on board. And that's going to do it for game 1. Carl picking up the check mark. Layout here, gonna do to fix that in real time here. Here we go, doing it live. All right, so down a game here. Looks like Daze is going to be coming out for Carl. Not a ton of sideboarding here from Elves. Now this is Ben's list from, I believe it was an SCG Open a while back. And I do like to mix it up on stream, but I have not been getting any reps at all with this deck. So the sideboard is kind of frozen from a point where lands was a significant portion of the meta and really the reason to not play Elves. So it actually is running Blood Moon of all cards. I think Blood Sun could be a reasonable card to try out. The fact that it wouldn't shut off your own cradles is of interest. But really, trying to hose a deck like Bug or Check Pile with Blood Moon, not really an option. So the sideboard not pulling very much weight this week. And here we see a pair of Deathrite Shamans here. So dueling Deathrites. Does set up a lot of complicated interactions. Of course, Deathrites can respond to other Deathrites playing defense, essentially. So if I do attempt to, say, remove a land, Carl's graveyard, once his Deathrite is no longer summoning sick, he'll be able to respond with his own Deathrite. And to be fair, the Bug Shell going to be a little bit better equipped to use mana at instant speed. I mean, really a lot better equipped. You're going to be able to Brainstorm off of that excess mana, potentially use creature removal. And here we go, going to try and get something going early. Glimpse of Nature, Horizon Canopy, and could it be a Quirion Ranger? No, Wirewood Symbiote. Quirion Ranger could have allowed for Heritage Druid to come online here and really continue drawing a lot of cards. And Deathrite Shaman tapping and untapping, really just getting an extra card draw here. Not going to be able to continue comboing off, so to speak. But a pretty reasonable situation there. Heritage Druid there for future Glimpse of Natures. Wirewood Symbiote could have been protecting those Elves, but that actually draws a Fatal Push. So he is down. Tavern of Souls. Of course, going to be naming Elves. The only other real option there is for the Wirewood Symbiote. That could be Insect on occasion, but Elves for the most part where you want to be, particularly when you're up against decks that can counter the creatures. So many important Elves, particularly Elvis Visionary, drawing cards repeatedly, a lot safer when you can guarantee that it's going to be coming down each turn. Like Green Sun Zenith. And some decisions to make here. Elves, not the easiest deck to play. Definitely can get a lot of the lines sort of memorized, so to speak. There's a natural order. 3 guys in play. And there's the Crater Hoof. So that's going to be +3/+3. Nettle Sentinel untapping due to the natural order. So 13 coming in. A very dangerous situation. Deathrite Shaman. Carl, only non-land permanent on board. There's a Goyf. Not going to be big enough to take out this Crater Hoof. And another Deathrite Shaman. So a second Crater Hoof in hand. A tall order to cast him, particularly with that Heritage Druid in the bin. Leave Goyf a 4/5 here. And Zenith. untapping, getting Heritage Druid. The now threatening 7 mana. 1 off from casting Craterhoof. Is there a land in hand as well? We may see next turn. And turning sideways. And something has to be blocked. 7 damage coming in. Tapped out, so cannot gain life from this. And it's going to be a full gang block here. 3 on 1. And attempting to activate that Deathrite Shaman. Carl able to use his to deny that mana. And it looks like Goyf going to be the one taken down. Could have taken down both Deathrite Shamans. So perhaps a little questionable there. The Deathrite's really going to be a bit more problematic. And there's a Delver of Secrets, so things potentially starting to swing in Carl's direction here. Having 2 Deathrite Shamans could allow him to gain a significant amount of life. He is all but tapped out here. Just the Deathrite Shamans available. So they could play a little bit of a team game there in order to generate some mana during the end step. But that's not happening. Delver flipping. That Hymn to Torok that we just saw a little bit ago. Stripping me down to 0 cards again. Him been extremely good so far in this matchup. Not always the case. A lot of the time Elves playing more or less off the top of the deck. An Abrupt Decay. And at this point Carl has Deathrite Shaman superiority. Glimpse of Nature coming down. Heritage Druid. Gaia's Cradle in the mix, so tons of options here. We've got 3 mana. And the question here would be Wirewood Symbiote or Elvish Mystic. Both of them would draw 1 card here, essentially. The Elvish Mystic... Elvish Visionary would draw a card when it enters the battlefield. The Symbiote would allow for a Heritage Druid to be picked up and recast. Symbiote probably the better call here. Let me know what you would pick in the comments. A little bit of potential protection for that removal that he could still draw. And now down to just 2. 1 swing away from that Nettle Sentinel, but those Deathrite Shamans could really delay and prolong this for quite some time. Down to just 10. So we could be looking at a Delver swing and then 4 activations of Deathrite Shaman, and that would do it. Now with Carl's life so low, an all-out swing would really complicate things. And here we go with the Glimpse. It's a very dangerous situation here for both players. Carl facing down lethal. 3 green. And then 2 cards here. Another Cradle. Cradle tapping for 6. Looks like it. Do we have a natural order? No, returning Mystic and recasting it. so much mana available here. We've got Cradles, Nettle Sentinels, all of these elves able to tap for extra mana. Nettle Sentinel coming down in a pair now. So now every green spell is going to untap those Nettle Sentinels. Which of course, Heritage Druid giving all of these elves the ability to tap for mana. And there's a natural order. And that is gonna do it here. Oh, but both Crater Hoofs have been taken care of. So it's got to be Scavenging Ooze. So this game continues. There's no more Crater Hoofs left in the deck. So instant death not an option. But this Scavenging Ooze could get very large, gain a significant amount of life, and shut down the utility of those Deathrite Shamans. Does that Cradle come down? Not yet. So Green Sun Zenith here, hitting another Nettle Sentinel. Now there is a Glimpse still out there. So each creature that we cast is going to draw a card. And then Green Sun Zenith for 2. And another Mystic, so one more card draw here. And this is quite a board. Just a crazy turn here for elves. Going from totally on the brink to essentially stabilizing here with this Scavenging Ooze. And he starts eating, going to work, getting rid of Tarmogoyf on the other side. Heritage Druid. The other Cradle comes down. That's going to access, it looks like 10 mana. That's going to be able to eat a significant amount of creatures. Definitely all the creatures that have found their way into the graveyard so far. And also going to be able to shut down Deathrite Shamans attempting to drain life. So Carl is absolutely in a terrible situation now. Going to need some type of sweeper, essentially. Getting completely out of range with the life total. And now able to go wide enough to get around any type of blockers that Carl may be able to come up with. So a absolutely huge turn here. Just making sure the life totals are good, and Carl picking it up to a small degree, indicating that there may not be anything in his deck that could even get him out of that spot. Go. Tied up here, one apiece. And we are doing this live. Going to be moving around some graphics here. It's all done in OBS. On the fly here. Right. Going into game 3. 10 minutes left on the clock. Elves, the type of deck that can easily win in turns. Bug Delver, not so much. Clock management going to be important here on both sides. See a Liliana of the Veil. Not as devastating in this matchup as, say, Liliana of the Last Hope. That is a card you definitely want to be concerned about when you're playing elves. She can kill just about everything in the deck and sets up a bunch of inevitability with her ultimate. Abrupt Decay, finding that Deathrite Shaman. So Elves pretty much going to want a 3-mana turn 2 when possible. And Abrupt Decay denying that. But another Deathrite Shaman coming down, and a third. So triple Deathrite Shaman here starting out. Notably not much in the way of fetch lands in the graveyard yet. Brainstorm for Carl here. We see Force of Will and Wasteland taking out Cradle and Fatal Push. So Carl doing a good job here maintaining a somewhat reasonable board state. Wasteland doing some serious work there, taking out the Cradle. There's a Heritage Druid. Had to play a Dryad Arbor for turn, which cannot tap for mana the turn it enters the battlefield. So that is not a particularly explosive turn. Carl, Delver, and Wasteland. Deathrite Shaman activating to make mana. In crop rotation in response, we see a Force of Will in Carl's hand, but perhaps no blue card. And that is a huge shift right there. Effectively stifling a Wasteland trigger, but actually upgrading the land in the process. So now Cradle on board. And there's the Scavenging Ooze. And there are already some creatures in the bin. And now tapping for 3 mana is that Gaia's Cradle. 4 mana total, and got the Natural Order as well. You gotta expect the shields are down when that crop rotation didn't get countered. So here we go. Craterhoof coming in along with Deathrite Shaman and threatening lethal here. Delver does flip. We see Liliana, Abrupt Decay, and Force of Will. Carl thinking this through. Scavenging Ooze going to be able to get pretty big. So Abrupt Decay does find it, and we're going to see a chump block here just to stay alive. And there's the fetch land to get the Bayou and close the door. So no fetch, no chump block. And I did have the black mana, and that does it. In quite a long match there, back and forth, a lot of action, exactly the type of thing that you want to see at a Legacy. 2 powerful decks, but in the end, one must fall. All right. Well, we've got a lot of rounds this week, so we'll see you in the next video. That's all for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please help grow the channel by subscribing. You'll be notified when we upload new videos like Fast Effect, Double Speed Magic with commentary, or Untapped, our raw tournament gameplay. Thanks for watching.